Thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here. We're going to play Metroid Prime 4 today. This is by request. I normally am not in the habit of playing a video game and then sharing my reaction to it and delivering an analysis in real time, but a lot of people reached out and let me know that they wanted to hear my thoughts on Metroid Prime 4. So let's go ahead and do that now. I will try the mouse mode. I will use this bad boy here, which is a third-party peripheral. I don't know why Nintendo does not make an official one. I'll put a link in the description to something like this. I'll find a similar listing, but I'm not sponsored, so you don't have to buy it from that particular one. But I picked this up for a couple bucks from AliExpress. You just dick your Joy-Con 2 right in there, and it's much more comfortable to hold as a mouse. Let's go ahead and take a look at Metroid Prime 4. This is going to be exciting. I'm starting this up here. Okay. Okay. I'll go normal. I'm a pretty normal sort of guy. But if I'm playing Skylanders, I do like to put that on the harder modes. I like to have a bucket. I'll just go to my display shelves, grab a bunch of Skylanders, stick them in a bucket, and then I'll sit on the couch with my long extension cord, right? A USB extension cord for my portals, and then I've got a table full of Skylanders. Usually, I almost always play the game with friends. I won't. I don't have time to waste to play games solo, so usually it's a social thing for me. And it'll just be a friend and me, and we've got to have like a divider on the table so we don't get our Skylanders mixed up. We like to do the PvP as well in between the levels. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking about Skylanders, and I should be paying attention to the story here. I mean, you guys have already played this, right? You've already started the game without me. I'm just starting right now. Okay. So these are pre-rendered. Like, there's no reason to have this be, or maybe at least that section. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but this looks like it could be real time. And the difficulty is I'm looking at this through my capture device, and it introduces imperfections which can make real time gameplay look like a compressed uh, cinematic that is just a video file basically playing. I believe this is just a video file, uh, but I could be wrong because my capture card is going to throw me off a bit. But there technically isn't a reason why this should be rendered in real time. Real time means that the game engine has all of these 3D models and the particle effects. If you render this in real time, it means you have to organize that. You have to program it in the game engine itself, in the game framework, and that's a lot of work. And sometimes it's easier to just have this as a pre-rendered cutscene where it's rendered not in real time. It's just a video file. That means nothing can change. It's fixed. This this is real time now. So this looks to me like that previously everything we saw was pre-rendered because it had an a very heavily anti-alias look. It had very high definition textures, and I didn't see any aliasing from the 3D models. So it was that cut just then that I pointed out. That's when the game switched to real time. Up until that point, it was not real time. It was pre-rendered. I'm 100% confident on that. I'm gonna shoot you dead. So I'm gonna see what my buttons do here. Okay, I got that. Oh yeah. Oh, this feel. Oh, I don't know. I might adjust the settings on that. Oh, I'm a target you. You gonna get targeted. All right. Oh, oh, this feels nice. Oh, I'm jumping. Okay. Do I gotta? What's my L3 button? Do you guys have that moment when you're playing a game and you check what your L3 and R3 do, and then you're not sure if it actually does anything? Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, I got an air jump already. Mmm. I do like that. I like me an air jump. These are my friends. Hello, my friend. So I'm going to. Yes, yes, I know it's me. I'm just going to take a look around. I can't see my legs. It's a little disappointing. That's not a nitpick for me. I'm not going to complain about not seeing my legs. I do like to see my legs in a first-person game. So, but that being said, when I've done first-person games, I haven't shown legs. So I'm being a big hypocrite here, uh, by pointing out games that aren't having. But it's like for example, Left 4 Dead. you can see your legs in there. So these would be using detail maps. It's a texture. That is texture work. That, oh, hold on. Okay, oh, I like, this is nice, right? When you have, this is the terrain texture and this is a model, and being able to smoothly transition to organically, not smoothly, but organically and convincingly uh, to transition from the terrain to the 3D model here. That's more complicated than you think it is, and they've done it so convincingly here, and I really like to see how well they handle that. Um, that's not just something where it's like you just kind of throw the stuff in there. You manually have to do all this work so that there's a smooth transition from there to there. Now I see a separation in the modeling. Oh, they could be using shaders that can blend the transition from one model to another. I know that I'm hyperfixating on very small things that don't matter, but that's what I want to do. It's fun to do this. Not if I'm just playing the game, I'm not going to do this, right? But sometimes I like to take a look and analyze the game. So we use layering on our textures, and we use a detail map. So we have textures that just loop over and over again, and then we use a detail map that says this is where that texture will appear. That's what they're using here, is a detail map with repeating textures. We have the benefit of physically based shaders. So this is a physically based shader that they're using for the water here. Otherwise, there's no way to get water to look good, or I would say realistic. And this game isn't necessarily striving for realism. It's striving to be expressive. This is a shader that is physically based. I believe that water is absolutely physically based, but I know that not everything is physically based in this for performance considerations. Physically based shaders are able to perform many calculations, but they have a performance cost. This game is smooth, and I know that it doesn't look as good as it can because of my capture card is not great quality. The fact that it's running this smooth on my garbage capture card is kind of shocking to me. I'm taking a look at a lens flare here. This is an extremely simple technique. It doesn't require anything advanced. We've been doing this for decades. That is not an exaggeration. When we have geometry occlude the lens flare, you can see that the lens flare fades out here. It doesn't shrink, it fades out. We have a J.J. Abrams horizontal lens flare. There's actually different components to that lens flare. You see the horizontal component that I'm going over with my cursor here. That persists even though I've already occluded the other area. See the main red star and the rainbow circular halo is fading, but that it seems like that red component is separate from the central red flare. So that's pretty nice. I'm trying to see where the volumetric lighting is. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the lighting here. I think it'll be more noticeable indoors, but you can see these lights, I believe, are influencing the scene with volumetric lighting. Because as we look directly at it, okay, I'm trying to see if that is the effect of a lens flare or not. I like to see that, if I can tell if that is a lens flare. I thought it was volumetric lighting, and you know how you can tell is you see the haloing, the soft haloing and brightness around the bulb. As I occlude the actual point where the light is originating from, you see that halo, that softness, the spreading of the light disappears. It fades out, it occludes. So that is a lens flare. And lens flares are pennies. They cost pennies on the dollar to render. And I'm not talking about money. The rendering budget refers to the game. And it's so interesting to see that you could have brute forced this. A developer that was working on Steam or PS5 or Xbox would have just made this purely volumetric, but volumetric lighting is very expensive to render. It makes your frame rate drop. And this is a situation where there's no need to have that be volumetric lighting, because using the lens flare achieves an extremely similar effect. It's convincing enough, and lens flares are way cheaper. If lens flares had a cost, I would say 3 cents, and volumetric lighting, I would say, costs 75 cents. And so this is a situation where I've talked way too much about fuzziness around light bulbs. All right, I'm going to shoot the door here. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? I got a little energy shot. It can rapid fire. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. and then I charge it up, and I got my missiles here. This feels nice, but I think there's latency from my capture card. I'm sure that's what it is. I believe that is volumetric. No, that is volumetric lighting in this hallway now. That's, you see that sort of softness, that fogginess, that's volumetric lighting. And we're going to double check that because they could be using, well, oh man, you could be using basic distance fog. That's how they're able to maintain a high frame rate. Ooh, look at the windows. I like them windows. Area map acquired. Area map acquired. So my trigger buttons, my R and ZR, do not do that. So this is, look, I don't have access to my Y button on this bad boy. I might pick up another mouse peripheral because I have seen peripherals that do leave that Y button open. Okay, the map data for this area has been downloaded. Okay, I'll press that. Yep, I got it. I know what a map looks like. I've done a video game a couple times before. I got it. Go forward. So let's go ahead and look. So a shader is part of the program that tells the game engine how a piece of geometry in the game is meant to be rendered. This window has a nice shader that has pixel distortion. It gives a sense of imperfection and depth to the glass as well, as the glass distorts things on the other side. Again, it's not realism that's interesting, it is expressiveness that is interesting. Realism only reinforces an idea, a concept. It's not that interesting, it is expressiveness that is interesting. What this is saying through its shader is that the glass is thick, has some imperfections on the surface, such as the water, and you can see it's distorting. This is so pleasant. Welcome to Window Watch, where we review windows in video games. In today's episode, we will be reviewing the very first window that you see in Metroid Prime 4. I really like this. I like the droplets. And the droplets are... This is conveying a sense that raindrops are hitting the window. And I really like this. There would be most likely, how would I do that? See, I would probably just put I would put a second sheet over the window, right? A second polygon, and then I would just animate on that layer, because otherwise you have the shader of the window, and then you have to animate that shader. You have to do extra work. And in terms of macro managing, which makes me sound like a big fancy businessman, like I just came back from a conference in Toronto. From a macro management standpoint, I would seriously just put a second layer, like a piece of geometry, a second plane on top of the window, and I would animate that, because then I can macro manage that, and I can compartmentalize just doing the raindrops. This is, I really like that. It's very pleasant. I do like that. Okay, I'm actually going to play the game now. I'm talking about the stuff that super doesn't matter. Oh, I'm sure someone's going to complain about this. I'm sure someone will complain that you go up to this door and you can see that the texture is a little low resolution on that. And you know what? It's okay to complain. It's just a video game. I'm going to press the X button. Please don't ask me to press the Y button, because my third-party peripheral blocks my Y button here. I'm going to hold this to scan. What? I did the wrong button here. ZL. I press Z because I live in Australia. Okay. Yeah. I will. I'll do that. I'll go and get him real good. I'm going to shoot this box. I'm going to shoot that box real good. Blowing stuff up feels so good. Picking up glowing, rotating things feels so good. Guys, I can't abandon Window Watch. In my heart, I'm a window watcher, and I got to watch my windows here. All right, I'm going in. Here we go. There's input latency on my input here, and it's because of my capture card. Ah, okay. See, it's like I'm shooting that just half a second later. This is, I can deal, right? I'm not going to be a complainer. I'm just saying there's like half a second of input delay. No, it's like a third of a second. For an RPG, it doesn't matter, but for something like this, whoa, you got to have precision. There's a little bit of late. Okay, see, I overcompensated that time. He dodged me? They're doing like little dodges. I just shoot him in the leg. Give me that glowy object. Let me have a look around the room here. So I do enjoy these kinds of environmental details. The light here, they could be baking those lights. Those lights are most likely not real time. They are baked into the texture, the part of the light map. A light map is it is a series of textures that we ask the game engine to render. We say, while during development, hey, can you just calculate the lighting on this so that the game engine doesn't have to do it while the game is running? If they have to calculate while the game is running, it has a performance cost, it causes the game to run slower. I strongly believe that is baked. And they do that for performance reasons. Again, it's because it's cheaper to render. And there's no reason, because we don't really get close to it, there isn't a reason for us to have to get close to that light. Otherwise, you would see the reflection of that light. You would see the influence of the light on Samus's gun. You see, if those lights were real time, if the console light was real time, you would see the influence of light on her arm cannon, and I don't see it. I'm not seeing the influence of those blue lights. So that is how you can tell those are not rendered in real time. They are baked into the environment, and I would like for the latency to be not part of the controls. I said I wasn't going to complain. Now this is that is a soft particle. Soft particles allow particles to blend smoothly when they get close to other geometry. That is a particle system, but because of the soft particle tolerance, the closer it gets to the camera, it actually can disappear. So it doesn't obscure things you can see, so it doesn't clip through the geometry in an unpleasant way. As we get closer to it, it does fade away. I personally like to have the particles more visible, and they stay visible. I get close to it and the particles disappear, so that the soft particle system is causing that to fade out. I personally would like to see the particles up close. I like them, especially like the cloudy, foggy stuff. Is there anything? I just enjoy this kind of detailing work. You know, small things like this, like movement, the internal logic of the tarp. You know, there's a reason for that to be there. Maybe it was part of like a roof covering, so they can sit outside and have their space sandwiches outside. You can see it's torn. Just a small amount of... I don't believe this is physics animated. I do not believe that is physics animated. It is most likely they created those animations and baked them in during development, because real-time physics simulation has a cost, and because these developers prioritized a smooth gameplay experience, I believe that that is a baked animation and that it is not physics animated. My shots are not affecting it. Otherwise, you know, I think a missile would be considered a physical object. Otherwise, you would see it interacting. So it's good to see those performance considerations. These are all things that contribute to the game running as smoothly as it does. Another development studio who didn't prioritize performance likely would have made that real-time physics simulation. It also takes less time to just say, let the game engine do it in real time. Do it in real time. Oh, I'm low on missiles. I've been spamming my missiles. I've been a bad missile counter. I like shooting through a hole in the ceiling. I like it. I just enjoy, look, you see this untarnished section of the room here, and as you get closer to this area where the enemies have broken in, damaged ceiling tiles, holes in the ceilings, you can see the beams as well, the damage to the bent beams, the wiring, the cabling, attention to detail in terms of what they are saying and how they're saying it. Very pleasant. I'm going to go ahead and bust this case right open. Okay, but after I film today's episode, I am going to play a bit of the game on my TV where I don't have the input lag, so I can really get a feel for it. That's a fire. All right. No! Oh, no. I have a feeling people that have already played the game understand the humor now when I was saying, please don't make me press the Y button, because my Y button is obscured here. I do like it. The window is broken, and this thing it can't close. Welcome back to Window Watch. We've got a broken window here. This is... Okay. I'm going to have to take that. I'm going to have to take that out of the... I should be scanning, right? Should I be scanning? X and scan. No. Hold on. I pressed the Y button to turn into Morph Ball. This is a little inconvenient now. That's going to be problematic. I know that there's a boss fight that's going to need that. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to buy a new peripheral. So this peripheral I cannot recommend because your Y button is obscured. I will pick up another one. You know what? I could just hit that with some heat. I think I might just get my soldering iron, and I might just warp that so I can access the Y button, because I would like to be able to use that. Help yourself. The Lord helps those who helps themselves. I'm not religious. I don't know. I've heard that somewhere. I don't know why I said that, but people, oh, Samus, I can't kill this alien by myself. Like, come on. Come on. You have a space gun, all right? You can help yourself. I gotta bust these crates wide open. Whoa, that was fun. I like that. That was cool. Did I get hurt? Did I get hurt from stepping in fire? Ow. Okay, she said ow. Okay. I like this solution. It's an invisible wall, but it makes sense in context. There is internal logic and reasoning, and it helps the game feel bigger than it actually is. So that I really like seeing that. That's my friend. Do I get to pilot a big robot? I like a big robot. Let me climb this guy. No, are you no, 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 I can climb this guy. I'll climb every robot. That's what Grandpappy always told me, and that's how I'm going to live my life is climb every robot. Come on. Oh, come on. Come on. I'll scan you real quick. Come on, man. I'm scanning. Tell me. What did you want to be when you grew up? Because you'll never be that thing. Live on in your dreams. This is... Okay. Here... Yes. Yeah, we can see volumetric... I believe you can see that. Is that volumetric lighting here? I have to know. I have to know that. That is... No. That is... I believe that's just fogs. That's a particle effect. It's an animated particle effect, I believe. Yep. This is tricky. There are moments where it seems like they've used... Welcome back to Window Watch. Okay. No, see, we've got... If there was a second plane above it, you would see it, and then there would be Z sorting issues. Oh, look, I like... Oh, there must be liquid in this tank. Oh, look at that fun effect. I almost missed that. That's fun. So not only do we have the imperfections on the glass itself, and that's using a specular map. A specular map allows you to define the shininess of an object, but because we can define different pixels on that texture map, we can make some areas of the geometry look less shiny or more shiny. That's how we are able to achieve that effect. And we have pixel distortion to explicit a sense of waviness to say that there's liquid in there. There isn't actually liquid in there. It just looks like it does thanks to the shader. Very cool. Great effect. I really like that. This has been terribly delightful. I'm going to record a second episode to this for anyone that is interested, and then I'll edit and upload the second episode whenever. I have to get back to my work now. If you're interested in seeing some of my work, I'll put some on screen. I have a Kickstarter running for one of my games right now. I'm developing Goo Buddies. This is a monster raising game where all the monsters are made of goo. They have transformations. They can be born with special cursed masks or blessed masks. It changes their stats during battle when their HP falls low and they can transform. If your Goo Buddy doesn't have one of those cool masks because they weren't born that way, you can teach them Overflow Method, which causes them to overproduce slime, and they transform in cool and mysterious ways. The Kickstarter will allow me to spend just a bit more time so I can add 59 more unique species and work on things like a free version that runs in the web browser so everyone can play that for free. No accounts, no monetization, no ads. And also one of the stretch goals is to work on PvP multiplayer. So if you're interested in checking out the Kickstarter, please feel free to look at that. Otherwise, but I know you're here for Metroid. Okay, take care of yourselves. Be well. I'm going to record a second episode for this. See you around.